Hello, investing testers. I'm trying that one out. Is it all right? Well, give me a thumbs up if you like it. And don't forget to subscribe if you want to hear more of this content talking about investing and testing. Anyway, right now we are on Etoro, as you can see. So I'm going to talk about Etoro for a little while. I am in no way affiliated with Etoro. I just like the platform, and I think it's a good place to begin because you can learn a lot through copying other people and seeing how they trade. So let's begin. I'm just going to quickly have a look to see if they're healthy, if this is all healthy with a connection. Oh, now it's an excellent connection. I've been having trouble with that in the past. However, let's begin. I am an amateur, just to let you know. Right, okay, so let's go into Etoro here. So you first of all have to sign up for an account. So once you got yourself an account, it'll look something like this. It still says for me to complete my profile because I specifically made this for investing testing. I'm actually using virtual portfolio at the moment. Of course, if I go into the real portfolio, you can see I don't have any money because this is only for you guys just to be able to test stuff out. And already you can see that I have $30 profit on stuff I've just given examples of, which is quite nice. But we are in a bull run. In general, the stock market is going up in general, a bit of a bubble, so it's not surprising. However, the eToro is generally simple to use. If you're wanting to simply use it for stocks and shares, you can see this is a watch list they just randomly gave me when I signed up, and then you got some people down here. This is what it looks like, and then I also ended up watching this person. So who's gone up 116.63% in the last year, and in the last month it's been 7.9%. If we have a look at copy people here, because we're going to be looking at copying people if you're just wanting to start and you're just wanting to figure things out, you're trying to work out how to work the stock market, why not hand over your money to somebody who knows what they're doing? And this is where you can find a decent person to go and invest in. I mean, you could just go copy people and have the look at the editor's choice or the people that are most copied, which are down here. Or even the trending ones. You got several different categories here: long-term stock investors, long to short investors, and multi-strategy investors. So you have your various different choices down here. But if you're wanting anything specific, you can of course just change like the country, what they invest in most of the time, and you can also have a look at the gains. You can say that you want to have somebody who's at least had 20% in the past year. And then you can change here. Of course, at the moment is last 12 months, and then press go, and then you get like a list of people. And of course, you can continue to change it. So you can look at the performance with the risk score, which is actually eToro's own. We'll get into that in a bit when we're looking at the profiles, and the number of copiers. You can say that you want a high number of copiers if you want. So let's say over 500 people. Copying them, and then you could say, okay, so what type of trading active weeks for trading? So you want at least let's say they've had over 50 active weeks. There's 52 weeks in a year, so that's an allocation. That's again whether it's commodities, currencies, it depends what they trade in. And then of course you got the advanced, which is like time period, looking at the trader status. Of course you got to have verified, but let's look at the popular investors, and then you have the risk, the copy AUM. What is that actually? Oh, right, that's the amount of. Well, we'll have a look at that in a minute. See what that is. So yes, so we have, and then you've got even more advanced stuff down here. Number of trades, average position size. You can be very specific. But let's go back to keeping it simple, just choosing somebody from this list. What about Nightingale here? She's had good performance, and I got to say that February and March has been pretty tough on a lot of people, and generally because the technology sector has gone down, and that's normally the most profitable sector. So you find the most profitable people haven't been doing so well during February and March. I know that because my own people that I'm copying, they are not doing so well on my own personal portfolio. And you can see at the bottom here that you have that she's done quite well last year at 54%. But the year before that, when it was like when the stock market wasn't seeing a boom like it is now, you can see that there is minus 34% during that year. And I'm just I've gotten distracted that there's some error happening, but welcome that one viewer that's currently watching. Yes, so if we look down here, you can see the amount of people that has been copying her. You can see it's generally stagnated for a very long period of time, and suddenly she had a huge amount of people coming to copy her. And you can see here that she's had plus 28 people, 2.73% increase of people copying her in the last 7 days. And she has AUM range, right? Okay, this is the copy assets under management. This is the amount of money which she is looking after. So with everybody copying her, she is looking after $1 to $2 million, and I believe she gets a certain percentage of that herself, which is 1 or 2%. So you can imagine it's quite profitable for her being a copy trader. You can see here that she's mostly currently invested in stocks, 74%, and she's invested over 10% of the portfolio in crypto. That's good because crypto is quite a nice earner. And then ETFs are like essentially just well, we'll get into that later. And you got currencies, commodities, and people. Yeah, okay, she's even invested in a couple of people, 0.62%, and a couple of indices. So not a huge amount, but that you can see the reason why people might copy her. But you can see here that she's generally just been profiting off the bubble. There was a stock market crash in March, and then she's just been profiting ever since then. She's only had one red month, and October I know for sure was also a difficult month. And yeah, so say we are impressed. I mean, I'm not totally impressed with her. I can see that she might not survive normal market conditions, but we'll see about that. So if we're thinking, okay, we want to copy, so you go up here, you say you want to copy, and let's just put $100 into her. This section here, so she currently has some. If we have a look here, okay, so we can see a portfolio, and also you can see her worth over time here. So this is how much money she has in her account over time. But that's an interesting thing that you won't be looking so much at. But you can see her portfolio here of everything she's currently invested in. And it's always best to actually say that you want to actually put in just have it 300. Stop copy. You have to have a stop copy, unfortunately, because it's just how Etoro works. They don't allow you to copy people without any stop copy. That essentially will pull me out if my investment falls under $300. Copy value drops below 60% of the investment, so it would then pull me out. So then I can select copy open trades to say I want to actually copy the trades that are currently open on her account. So copy, boom. So now you can see I'm copying her, and it's actually saying add funds because I can add funds later if I want to. If I go over to my portfolio here, you can now see Nightingale. Already I've lost 11 cents, and she's already gone down minus 0.02% of the amount I've allocated to her, but that'll probably go up in value. You'll be able to see her performance over time, and you'll be able to assess how she trades, and you'll be able to look at what she's actually doing, what she's investing in, and if you actually go onto her account, it's always good to look at the feed to see what she talks about. I always like it when I see people talking about exactly what they're doing. When they what's our strategy? I like it when you get regular updates. 7 days ago, this one was 5 days ago, This was 12 hours ago. You can see that she is keeping people updated, and she's telling people, hey, this is my strategy, this is what I'm seeing, this is what I'm doing. It's great because then you can ask her questions like, hi, I'm new to copying. So you can see that somebody's asked a question here, and nobody's replied to this actually, but however, it's great that you are able to ask the people a question. I asked all of my Etoro people that I'm copying the other day if they're prepared for a stock market crash. Oh, somebody's talking about the crash here. So I mean, there's a possibility of it coming along. So I wanted to know: are they prepared for it? Are they going to pull out if it happens? So there's a simple way of being able to copy somebody else. Now, of course, you can also they have this new copy portfolios. So these are essentially portfolios of whether they'll be traders or even assets themselves. Say like Napoleon X here is full of like big like you can see there's crypto in here, a lot of crypto, Ethereum, ADA, Litecoin, and you can see how the portfolio is doing over time. And this is just made by an algorithm, or maybe I think somebody actually in Etoro actually creates these things. Perhaps I'm not entirely sure how they're made. However, it is just a collection of copiers. I mean, if we actually go into this copy portfolios, this is what's really interesting, is the fact that you get all of these copiers, and I wonder how they actually manage all of this, because you end up with all of these different investors. And of course, when you have so many investors, let's look at the portfolio. When you have so many investors that the portfolio is copying, then surely that the amount that we're actually putting into everything is extremely small. However, you can't see the full portfolio here. But perhaps if they get enough people actually putting into this, then perhaps it'll increase in value. But they generally, everyone together has only got $13,000. That's very low. Okay, as you can tell, I don't exactly know how the copy portfolios work. I've never actually used them myself, but please feel free to investigate and tell me more about it in the comments below, and give me a heads up, because I'd love to learn. So of course, if we want to actually just invest ourselves into some stock, so here you can see you can look for stocks. So you have your general stocks that Etoro wants to present to you straight away. You got, of course, your top portfolio candidates. I don't know, maybe this runs on an algorithm to show you various different things that you could possibly get into. But then of course, if you wanted to go to more specific, you could say you wanted stocks, and then you could say the specific industry. So we want the healthcare industry, because the healthcare industry is doing generally quite well recently, of course. I'm not going to invest in cannabis, but let's see, the Bayer. Bayer's a decent company. Let's see, is there any biotechnology, therapeutics? We'll just say we want to trade this, right? We want to put $100 in, and then of course then you have options down here. Now it looks like this is a CFD trade. I don't know why it's not allowing me to do a proper trade. The difference between a CFD trade and an actual trade, so just watch out for this, because this means that I'm not actually going to take ownership of the share. The actual broker will still be holding the share, but this CFD stands for contract for difference, which essentially means that once I turn around and I say, hey, I want to close this trade, I want to sell the share, then if there's any profits, then the broker would have to pay me, but if there's any losses, then I'd have to pay the broker. The great thing is that it's not often used for leverage ×1, and it seems like it's forcing me to put a stop loss on this. But it's normally used when you're starting to increase the leverage. Now, leverage is basically like borrowing money. It's saying, hey, I'm going to put down $100. Could you put down? So that would mean that I'm going to have an exposure of $500, because you times $100 by 5. So it means that they're lending $400 and using my $100. Now, it means that they have to put a stop loss in at $50, because I put $100 in, right? So it's half that. If I try to go lower than $50, I should explain what a stop loss is. So essentially, what happens is that if the market falls, so let's get rid of the leverage so we keep it simple. So if the market falls by $50, if the shares fall, these shares fall, and I buy $100 worth of this, and I lose $50, and it goes down so far that it reaches the $50 mark. So once it reaches $50, it will pull me out. Now, as you can see, because I have times1 leverage, I can say I don't want a stop loss. I can say I don't want a profit. A take profit is very similar to a stop loss, so minus 50 here. So it reaches 50 and then it pulls out. The take profit is very similar to stop loss. I say I would like, okay, you can change between the rate, the value of the actual stock. So if the stock goes to that level, then I'll be pulled out, then it'll sell my share. Or you can say how much. So I've invested $100. If it reaches $150, then it pulls me out. So it's either the amount that I put in, if it increases to $150 with $50 profit, then it'll pull me out. But then I can turn around, I can say, okay, I would like to actually do it by the rate instead, which means if the value of the shares go up to $1,200, it means that it will pull me out. So relatively simple. Now, when it comes to leverage, of course, like I said before, you're borrowing money. So you can see here that I got, at the moment, at times1 leverage, I've got exposure of $100. If I put times 5, then it goes up to $500. Now, the reason for that is that the broker is lending me $400. And I don't need any credit score. I don't need anything like that. The reason why is that they automatically put a stop loss. If I try and increase this stop loss, let's see if I can put minus 60 here, and I put enter. It says it cannot be lower than $50 because I'm putting $100 in, and it wants it to stop when it reaches 50. Because the thing with the stock market is, if there's a crash and everybody wants to sell at once, then your stop loss is triggered. So it means that you're put into the queue to be able to sell, but this queue is long. So there's one person after the other selling things, and slowly it starts going down the list of people buying. And of course, the buyers want to buy as cheap as possible. So it keeps on going cheaper and cheaper and cheaper and cheaper. And you could potentially lose $100 even though your stop loss was triggered at $50. So it's not immediate. We have to remember that. Now, to get even more complicated, you have an option down here, and it actually tells you what it is. It's called a trailing stop loss. So we can tick this box. And this essentially means that if the stock is going up, then the stop loss comes with it. So you can actually use the stop loss to make a profit if you use it right and you understand the market. So it goes up, and you can see maybe your strategy is that you can see it's going up and down a certain amount over a period of time. There's a resistance line and there's a support line, and you're like, okay, so I can see that it's bouncing between this. So I'm expecting that this will go down at this point. So what I want to do is buy at this point. So you can say I'm wanting to buy. So actually I can order instead of a trade. So I say that I want to buy when it's down at $902. I want to pull out when it's at 900. So say the rate when it's at $989. Okay, and then of course I have a stop loss at $50, but perhaps I'm like, I'm not sure. Like, so basically I could take the take profit out. I could say, okay, so I'd like to take the profit if it keeps going up and up and up. I'd like to take the profit at 1,500, right? And then if it starts going down, if there's a sudden crash, I want to make sure I'm out. So if I'm buying at 902, so that's $50 difference. So I want to be out by. No, let's do the rate. I want to be out at 8. Oh shoot. I want to be out at $880, right? So I bought at 902 because I know, okay, maybe not that, $889. So almost $890. So I know that perhaps the resistance line is at 900. So I'm saying, okay, if it goes below the resistance line, then friggin' take me out. However, this is very close. This is 20% of the position amount, right? So I also want to be making sure that if it doesn't go all the way up to the point where I want to take my money out, take a profit. So maybe that's a little too much. No, leave it like that. If it doesn't manage to break through because I'm expecting it to break through the resistance. If it doesn't break through and it comes back down, I can still make a profit with my stop loss, because then it starts coming down, and then I'm like, okay, because this is a trailing stop loss, right? So essentially, it's got to 902. It bought, went down a little bit to maybe 898, then it went back up again, and then it's like 902, 903, 904, 903. So then it's the stop loss at the bottom here, because it's 889. So at 903 it goes 890, 904, 891. It will pull it out. 905, 892, and it'll keep going up like that. It'll just keep pulling it with it, and then as soon as it comes down, it'll stay where it is, and then it will get triggered, and you can actually use that to make a profit. So you can see here I've put leverage times 5. Okay, so I borrowed a bit of money, and of course then I'll be pulled out before I lose all of my money. So the broker's in a win-win situation here already, because they're able to give money to me. Well, of course I take the majority of the profit, but we'll talk about the way Etoro makes money in a bit. But you can see here at the bottom we got overnight fees, and there's each night I will be charged 9 cents if I have this order open. Over the weekends, you can see over the night is 27 cents. So the weekends it'll cost more. Now it's because the stock market is generally open during the week, it's always best that you close it before the weekend, because then you'll be charged over the weekend, of course, and you'll be charged every single day. So that's three nights in a row. So you've been charged like 27. You'll be charged almost $1. So yeah, I mean, it's not a huge amount of money, but it's just like it's to bear in mind. And of course, the Etoro will be making a bit of money out of that. Now, how does Etoro make that money? Well, let's do a quick search here. How does Etoro make money? And well, I mean, like Etoro profit system. How does it work? Now, there is a there isn't any fees as such in Etoro. It's all down to the spread. It's how they make most of their money. Now, the spread is kind of simple. Actually, it's not simple. It's kind of complicated. Let me just pull up something here. Okay. Let me pull up something here. Let's go to Binance real quick, because I want to show you the book. Because Binance is actually a stock exchange. So you can see here that if we go quickly to we're saying that we want to trade. Go to the advanced trading here. Now here on the right, hang on a second. Let me bring the order book over so you can see it properly. What's happened to the chart? Oh, see there. All right, let's pull this up. So you can see here we have the selling and the buying. So people are putting out orders to buy a certain amount of this stock, Bitcoin to US Tether, and people are putting out orders to sell. And you can see here in general the live action of what's been sold, what's been bought. Green for buy, red for sell. And then the average price is right in the middle here of between both of them. And here you can see that the spread between them both, because the spread, if there's a way of being able to pause this for a moment, but the spread is simply the amount of money between the the lowest sell price and the highest buy price. And how eToro makes its money is essentially it will take the sell price and it will kind of it will decrease it. So yeah, it will take the sell price, and then it will increase it slightly. So then when you buy something, then you are paying a little bit extra on top of what you're supposed to be paying. And with the buy price, it does something similar. When you're selling, I'm getting confused. If you're selling this stock, for example, you say you're wanting to close, and it goes to the market, and when you're selling, it will essentially these figures. It will tell you to sell at perhaps a higher price than what is actually on the market. So then they have this difference which they can take for themselves, and they do this as well because the stock might adjust, like when they actually have the small amount of time when they have to actually take your stock from their brokerage and take it to the stock market. Perhaps there's a difference in price, so they make sure that they have a little bit of lee room for price differences, and oftentimes they make it a big price difference, so then they can make a profit. If you're buying, it's the same again. If you're buying and they're buying from the stock market, they will add a little extra onto what you're buying. So then when they buy it, they know that they're able to have a little bit of a difference, so they're able to buy it in range, but also they can make a profit on that spread. So that's how eToro makes their money, and how they're able to actually pay their copy traders all the money that they get, which is like 1 or 2% a year for the amount that they have copying, which it can be. When I was last looking at it, I mean, you have to do your own research. They're getting quite a bit of money if they've got like $2 million invested in them, like this girl had. I mean, she had like stats. Sorry, if you go down here, you can see that the $1 to $2 million. It's a high amount of money. And then, of course, you have like you can add things to your watch list. Of course, when you go to the trade markets and you have things on here like Apple, you can say that I want to add it to my watch list, and you can. I've already made a watch list here. You can make a new watch list. It's pretty simple to make one. So you can then name the watch list and then create the new list, and then you got it over here. And of course, so then you drop it down here, and you have the watch list here. So you got all the watch lists here. All watch lists, recently invested, and all of this. Over here, you can see your portfolio. You can see everything you're currently invested in. And you can also see the history. If you click at the top here, you can see what you've been investing in the past, how much money you've put in, start value, the money you put in, the money you're taking out, the profits you've made. And you can also adjust the time frame. You can adjust all the various different things. You know, this is extremely important for tax purposes as well, of course. And then you have your pending orders, the orders that you said, hey, the stock market is closed, but could you make sure that you pull out of this stock when the stock market opens again? And then the all-important news feed. So you got everything all your portfolio. So this can be like the public English feed, or you could have just in a general news feed your safe posts or the popular investors you can follow here. And you could be you got some important information here. Check that out. That's all the social part. And of course, at the top here you have your notifications. You can share various different things, and the most important thing that I always get lost with, because you never seem to be able to write anywhere, but you can write here, and you can actually so always show this pop-up, ignore for now. So then what you can do is you can put it tells you can tag people with the @sign, and you can tag markets with the $sign. It means that if you tag somebody, then it goes into their their profile and will add it to their won't go into their add it to their profile, but it will call them over and say, hey, could you comment on this? And then if you're wanting to do the same for markets, it's pretty much the same. I'll do it in the market profile. So that's pretty much eToro in a nutshell. You can check out the rest yourself. I mean, you would withdraw funds is kind of self-explanatory. You got the deposit funds here, which is self-explanatory to put funds into your account. You got some guides which can help you through using eToro. Then you've got the help, and you can invite friends, and you even got the eToro club here, and which gives you some certain benefits depending on how much money you have in your account. So I hope you enjoy using eToro, and I hope you enjoyed watching this. I hope it's taught you a little bit, and I'll see you on the next one. I just got to